Thank you much. I appreciate it. It's okay we don't have a microphone because I come from such loud people. And, usually on on Christmas Eve we like to go out to dinner and usually so loud that other tables of families are so appalled they move away from us. And in the end, it's embarrassing at first, but by the end, so we got the whole place to ourselves. It's really nice. So when I showed up, there were people using swear words out there, and they were playing really loud cowboy songs. I was like, man, you can't pay for this shit in Brooklyn. How cool. Yeah. This is a story called The Wolverine, and I'm not ashamed to say it's what I know best. I can't sleep and I can't stop my mind from running roughshod, and when I get this restless way, I go down to the Jenny, where you can be alone and you don't have to do it by yourself. The Jenny Ganslet Country Club holds the latest call in Shenango County, which is something like 6 in the morning for all the folks working second shift. And you can still smoke in there. And it's always the same players carrying on about the same shit. Stuart, who tends bar, will tell you I miss much, which is usually true. Somebody has done somebody wrong, or hopped into bed with another person's spouse, or things have just plain changed for the worse. This, that, and the other thing, you know the shit I'm talking about. Me and May have been living together 3 years come December, and there hasn't been 1 month of it without her running off. Now, ain't always something I've done that sends her off, it's just how she is. Skittish. You know how those minnows dart from your shadow when you creep close to the lake's edge? It's like that. This time, it was a mountain lion that got her worked up. Earlier, we stopped up at Wade's to watch wrestling, and May wasn't happy. The way she tells it is that I said we'd go to the Ontario and see a movie, only I know I never said that, seeing as how tonight was a pay-per-view. It wasn't until she started talking with Wade's girlfriend that she finally relaxed. Watching the main event, Wade said he saw a coyote in broad daylight just yesterday. Wasn't a rabbit or nothing, said Wade. Then his girlfriend tells us she heard all about a mountain lion killed someone's dog on Tyner Hill, a purebred beagle. Wade said he pissed all along the line where his property comes up to the woods, said the smell of the urine would keep it off. Gotta mark your territory. Man is a larger mammal than a mountain lion, said Wade. His girlfriend nodded her head, drawing herself up closer to him. Well, that's all May needed to hear. She was so scared, so bad, the whole way home, she wanted me to drive in the center of the road for a fear of a mountain lion jumping out of the woods and pouncing on her through the passenger side window. Back home, she had me carry her in from the car, up the drive and into our place. I didn't mind. Back in the bedroom, I kicked the dogs off the bed, and I tried to get May to fool around, but she wouldn't. She said she was too worried for our dogs with that cat on the loose. She said she just knew that mountain lion was out there in the woods. I told her that didn't matter. That big cat can watch. And she sent me out to piss her on the lot. So there I was, out there, freezing with my dick in my hand. I didn't have to go at first, so I filled up a 2-liter soda bottle with water and brought it out with me, and I couldn't work it through me fast enough. Following the stream that rose up from the soaked leaves, I saw Ryan laid out overhead. I can't let May run out again. I don't want her running off to her folks. And I can't have her running off to whomever else she runs off to. If she ever ran off for good, I'd just about kill myself. Once, I made my way along the perimeter of our lot. What did I see in the doorway? Bags in hand, but May, and I asked her, what about your dogs you're so worried about? And she said they'd be fine with me. She just couldn't stay with us tonight. I didn't ask where she was going. I felt like I'd puke, but it was just water. And before long, I head for the Jenny. And I only pray to God May is heading to her folks. Coming down our road with the lights from town burning out of the valley like the stars seen through a fog, I nearly convinced myself that I don't care where she ends up tonight. On East River Road, past the billboard for Juanita's Tropical Birds, is the turn for the village of Groton and the Jenny. From the parking lot, I hear Scuttle bellowing. Now, you can't consider a conversation with Scuttle a regular conversation. The way Scuttle goes about it is much the same way a dog does with a tennis ball. It's over when they decide it's over, and they're done with you, and they roll you out on the grass covered in slobber. He's loud, and his opinions are only strong. I've seen a bald eagle taking off again this morning, said Scuttle. He's standing over two folks new to the Jenny. Fresh blood will take his word for gospel since they don't know any better. This is the first bald eagle in Chenal County in 200 years, need mind you. And it's not the deer, just the deer numbers. This place is more wild now than ever. You heard it here first, folks, says Stewart. And all down the bar, they gave a laugh through the smoke. I don't care if they're endangered. That thing has gotten to just about every one of those rainbows I stocked in the ponds and Scuttle. And the next time it comes around, I'll be waiting for it with a compound bow. That's not patriotic, you commie, says one of them. And this gets Scuttle even more worked up. Seen Big Will tonight? I say to Stewart. Big Will is May's dad. He doesn't drink, and at the Jenny or anywhere else. But he eats here with his second wife Karen nearly every night. Thought they're up to the lake this weekend, says Stewart. May with them? She's home asleep, I say. But some movement in my eyes tells Stewart all he needs to know. And he left it alone and brought me a bud. French, you know the homesteader in Smithville Flats, says Scuttle. He's talking to me. My name is French. That I do, I say. May buys eggs from the homesteader's wife. And me and Wade went in on a half beef from him last year. He ain't met at night, but he ain't far off it either. Homesteader comes out one morning to find his chickens and guinea hens all dead. Heads torn off. So he tells them up at the Berean Bible Church, and the pastor figures it was coyotes, says Scuttle, and now everyone's listening. Next thing you know, his sheep are dead, and the whole farm is covered with a terrible stink. Now, one old-timer who heard this said it sounded like the work of a wolverine. But nobody would hear it on account of they haven't been wolverines here since the clearing of the Valley of the Indians. Well, come the weekend, what does that very same old-timer do but shoot himself a goddamn wolverine up around that way? I look to Stewart to verify, and he nods. The wolverine was dead, but the damage had been done. And for a man who lives off the land, you can imagine how hard this hit him. He's got half a dozen kids. And kids running around up there, and a wife has got another one on the way. So we took it upon ourselves to pass it around the hat at the Jenny and see that old-timer about that wolverine, says Scuttle. And the freezer, says one of them, stunk out the whole garage. McNeese stuffed it, did a hell of a job too, and then drove it up there to the homesteader with Stewart here. And do you know what that Bible thumper told us? He said no thanks. That's just like that, no thanks. Said he didn't want the thing. Said he didn't blame that animal one bit for what had happened. Said it was only doing the Lord's work. And went on about how it was his own sins that killed those animals. The sins in his heart and the sins in his head, says Scuttle. He thought it was his own damn fault for what that wolverine done. To this point, the patrons of the bar shake their head and run off along the tributaries of their own conversations. What'd you do with the taxidermy, I ask. Stewart points beyond me to the wall hung with pool cues. On a lacquered slab of granite sits a skunk-like animal, twice as broad but no taller than a terrier, and the lips are tugged back bearing big stained teeth, and one flat paw is hung in the air. There she is, says Scuttle. Yonder stands your wolverine. They're all so busy listening to themselves talk that they don't notice me leaving. Out in the lot, more stars have lit up over the treetops. I drive north of town to the lake, and all the way, pairs of animal eyes reflect my headlights in the ditches. The car, it isn't much warmer than the outside, and the frost has crawled over the windshield. The frost being the only witness to what might look like me losing my mind. Alone in the car with the blowers going full blast, I begin talking to the homesteader as if he were in the seat next to me. I tell him that he has my sympathy and that I don't blame that wolverine either. The truth is, we are the animals to blame for our misery. Thank you.